Some days my brain is such a creative hot mess, I do not know if I'm coming or going. I guess that's just part of the thing about being a creative person. I have so many thoughts and so many ideas that sometimes I can't even keep them straight in my own head, and they bleed into each other and they make a big old mess, and they create words and pictures and art and music and video, and it creates this hodgepodge, this just mess of shit that I don't know what to do with. So I was having one of these days the other day, and okay, well, I've been having one of these days quite frequently lately, if I'm being perfectly honest, where I am in such creative squirrel mode that I can't even keep it straight anymore. I have so many different projects going on in so many different areas and so many different mediums that it's just a big old blur and a big old mess. So when that happens, I got out my cards, like we do. Grabbed a tarot, grabbed an oracle, grabbed my dice this time because that's something that I've been working on creating. Another project in my many, many task list. And I did a reading around creative focus. More specifically, a complete lack of creative focus. Because while there's no shortage of ideas in my head, sometimes the path through those ideas from the initial stage to the end, it's not always a clear path. I mean, if I'm being honest, it's rarely a clear path. I rarely know how things are going to turn out. I never know the end. I joke about that, being a writer, calling myself a writer. Am I a writer? I have no idea. These are terms, labels I struggle with. Creative, that's a label I can wear. It's very broad. Doesn't really mean anything, does it? I mean, it does, but it doesn't. It's just this intangible thing to be a creative. To be a writer, though, that's very specific. To be an artist, a filmmaker, a videographer, all these titles that really encompass an idea of what it is that you create, what it is that you are producing into the world. But when you're just a creative, what does that even mean? I have no idea. So anyway, back to my original thought, because welcome to my brain, and this is how it works. It is one jumbled mess of thoughts that there's no clear pattern, there's no clear route through. One thought does not logically lead to the next. They all intermingle and mesh and bleed all over each other inside my brain. And this is how my creative projects work. And so I don't really know why I create the things that I create. It's just a thought, an idea, this thing that is like living inside of me that needs to come out because maybe somebody else needs to see it too. So I create, but sometimes I lose my way because I don't know why I'm creating. And then another idea will pop into my head and I feel the impulse to follow that one too. So I'll jump from writing to drawing to video creation and back again. And the thing is that I'm always still thinking about every single one of them all the time. I mean, if I thought about it hard enough, I probably could draw some sort of a line. Would it be a line? No, it would be a crazy curly Q of a thing. Point A to point B with 100 different little forks along the way. But somehow they do connect. It's all a part of a larger thing. I have no idea what that thing is. It's this intangible, it's this ethereal experience that I'm trying to articulate with failed words and half finished drawings and crazy rambly videos that probably make no sense to anybody who doesn't live inside my head. But when I don't know where I'm going, or really the most important question, why I'm trying to get there, that's where I find tarot. And it's so fascinating to me because no matter how much I'm struggling, no matter how obscure the why seems, it's always there in the cards. I can have no clue of why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, why I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking, or why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. And I'm just running on instinct, intuition, creative fire. Is there a logical thought process behind it all? Maybe buried somewhere deep beneath the layers of artistic expression. Maybe it's there somewhere and it's complete and utter chaos and it creates beautiful things, but it's not always sustainable. And that's where the why comes in. That's why I have to know why I'm doing this thing that I'm doing, because when I get to those times in a creative project where the fire is burning out, where I've exhausted everything I have inside of me to give, I can go back to that why. Why did I want to do this in the first place? Why was I trying to create this thing? And I can't ever see it. I never see the why. It's never a thought, a conscious thought in my brain. It's there subconsciously, maybe superconsciously. And then I lay down the cards and I see it. It's like stepping outside of my own brain for 5 minutes so that I can see that bigger picture, the one that I can't see because I'm living in it, because I'm breathing it. And so I use the cards to step outside of that, to help me see the forest for the trees, to help me understand the why. And it's always stuff I know. Like the minute the cards hit the table, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying. I see it now. I saw it before. I just didn't want to admit that I saw it. It never tells me anything I don't know. It just reflects back to me the shit that I don't want to admit to myself. Good, bad, or otherwise. Sometimes it shadows stuff that I'm just like trying to avoid, don't want to deal with. Sometimes it's the good things. Sometimes it's the positive things. It's the, yeah, I did that thing and it went well. And I should be proud of that. I should enjoy that moment of success. I don't, because I'm always on to the next thing. But when I lay down the cards, it gives me the opportunity to look at that, to sit in that, to experience it. It makes me face those messy parts of my brain. I don't always need to know the why. I think I do. My logical brain says you should know why you're doing these things. You shouldn't be doing this because you should be doing that, because that makes more sense in terms of the things that you want in your life and your ultimate goals. But right now, you're feeling called to do this thing. And that's valid. Sometimes I don't know why I pull cards, I just do. And the thing is, when I walk away from the reading, the ritual, the experience of it, that's where I find the why. And at the end of the day, I guess that's really all that matters. Is I found what I needed in that moment in my cards. And my creative projects, they're not all that different. In that moment, whatever it was that I was creating, I found what I needed. And maybe somebody will see it and maybe they won't. Maybe they'll see what I was trying to express and maybe they'll see something totally different. And that's the beauty of creativity. It's like the beauty of tarot. We all see what we need to see in the moment. And that's really all that matters.